Hi guys, I'm Mike.
And I'm Stephen.
And this is F1 Fanatics. Welcome back to the channel and to another episode of F1 Fantasy Weekly, the first review of the season. F1 is back. It's amazing. F1 Fantasy Weekly is the place where you can round up all your kind of F1 fantasy needs. If you're new to the game, if you're still playing the game and you just need some help, you want someone to discuss it, this is the place for you.
But you could also join our Discord, where we have a fantasy channel where you can philosophize.
You can do that word, philosophize. You can philosophize the word. Stephen was trying to go all calm and peaceful. No, we are loud. We're shouting bang. This is your F1 fantasy hub on F1 YouTube. If you want to know anything about F1 fantasy, this is the place. Because we are F1 fantasy experts who aren't really experts, but are guys who probably play the game too much, but can probably give some...
connect experts with experts.
We connect experts with experts. So if we don't know, you can guarantee someone in our comments is going to know, and you can definitely guarantee someone in the Discord is going to know. So like I said, link in the description to the Discord. But F1 Fantasy, if you have... Also, bang, before we get into it, I'm going to make sure it's up this time. If you haven't already, and you already had a fantasy league, you can join our league. If you're maybe a What the F1 official league, in Kira Megan F1's every CCF1. If you're in any of those leagues, get in our league as well. Why not? Because this one also gets you a prize. If you are the leader at the end of the season, you can ask D. Phillips from last year, you will secure yourself a team top of your choice. So we will give you the clothing for the 2022 season to support your favourite team.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, love that. But anyway, F1 Fantasy. It is the game. We have 100 million budget. You pick 5 drivers, 1 constructor, and those points add up over the course of the season to accumulate your points where you can beat your friends or the world in case of the Global League, which D. Phillips beat friends in the F1 Fanatics League and the world in the Global League.
Yeah.
So again, congratulations to last year's winner, D. Phillips. He also had an interview recently on the F1 website on Fantasy, giving you some tips and advice for that. So definitely watch out for that one. But yeah, that's basically a summary of the league. We're going to give you some kind of advice again from the review. Basically here, what we're going to be talking about is how our teams got on, how the overall picture looked, how the top 5 guys got on in our league. We're going to have like screen recording there, so we'll go through the website. Anything to add?
Let's just get into it.
I'm out of breath.
It was a lot of ramble.
It was a lot of ramble.
But lots of information.
I think it was useful.
Yes.
Was it useful ramble?
I think it was a useful ramble.
It's useful ramble.
I'll
anyway,
give that 5 Kimmy's L5.
We're going to jump up. We're going to jump into a corner somewhere. So you'll still see us, but we're just going to be like, whew, on the screen. And the main focus is going to be on the screen as we go. So we're just...
Here we go.
That's set up. Okay, so if you go onto the F1 Fantasy website, we thought we'd do it on laptop because obviously I did last time the screen recording on my phone, which is useful, but black, smaller screen. And the website gives you a little bit more concise.
Yeah.
Do you want to say what these useful things are that I'm wavering? So we've done F1 Fantasy Explained.
If you're still unsure, Subsbank, dynamic pricing, it's all in the explained video. Or if you need help with those, it's join the Discord. People will help you out. But today we are just reviewing and also doing some Rate Your Teams, reviewing the opening race in Bahrain. So let's just,
So as you can see here, these were the points. We got 185
That's
points.
How you did.
From the website. This is how I did, but it's also
I did very similar.
It's also how Stephen did, because if you watch the Who We're Picking video, this is exactly this team that Stephen picked. But then a couple of weeks later, I forgot that and then bottled on Hamilton last minute and wanted to go Verstappen, which actually worked out quite well. We just picked the wrong turbo drive from the day.
Yeah.
Turbo Norris would have worked out better.
18 points.
I think this probably would have been the best team if...
I think so.
If you turbo Norris. on that aspect. But yeah, good point from there. But you can go here now and see who are in your team. So I just wanted to look at, a quick dynamic pricing to help those people going into the next races. As you can see, Charles Leclerc has been a popular pick. He's already gone up 0.2 million. And you see this bar here. If it's close like Landon Norris is, I imagine by the time this video's gone out, Landon Norris would have gone over that and up 0.1 mil. But as you can see here, the budget down in this corner for our team has already gone up 0.4 mil. So if Norris ticks over is there. And if we cut out here, you can see things. So it looks like Sergio Perez has been dropped quite heavily, which is going to be useful because we actually think he's going to be quite a big pick for Imola. But that will come in the preview for that. Lando Norris is looking good. Pierre Gasly looks like he might also go up. But if you've got Yuki Tsunoda, maybe hold on Yuki Tsunoda for a bit. Because he's on...
So it should give you percentages now.
Yeah, it gives you percentages. So Yuki's on 56%, but seeing as he already went up 0.1 mil, he could be on there. Who was the driver I took out?
Do bear in mind that there won't be actually too much change between now and next race weekend, especially when the video comes out, because the subs bank limits people to 6 changes a week, whereas normally people will be making...
changes all the way through.
Unlimited changes in between race weeks. Because if you did it right, you didn't take the minus points. But now you only have 6 changes to do.
Absolutely. And now you have the summary page, which you can look at. You can see who's the most transferred out drivers. You can look at most transferred in, highest scoring, blah, blah, blah.
We don't need to look. We've got a spreadsheet.
Prizes,
what are you doing? This is rubbish.
Okay, it is rubbish. But you've got us, guys.
Exactly.
So what you've got with us is you got a spreadsheet.
You got me a fun fancy spreadsheet.
Now, there are no block colours for kind of teams or anything like that because we just are here to give you the hard stats and facts.
Oh, actually, I need to change something mid. You get some live editing. Let's add... the top 5. You do get some colours. There you go. There's your top 5.
There's your top 5 for this week.
Let's go through them. So Lewis Hamilton obviously wins the race, so you get the most points there because you get the 25 World Championship points. So you got 45. Max came in second with 35. Bottas third with 32 points. Norris 29 points, the best turbo pick. And Checo Perez coming in at 23 points. Solid recovery drive from him to make the top 5.
And yeah, obviously getting that late overtake on Charles Leclerc suddenly brought him into the top 5 ahead of Charles Leclerc, because Charles Leclerc then lost a position and obviously Sergio Perez gained another position.
I'm surprised Checo actually is going down in value, unless there was people on qualifying day ditching Checo then, and it's just a consequence of that. Because he was the second best turbo there.
I mean... yeah, and how strong that Honda looks, and how Perez looked in that race, and how far Bottas was off Hamilton and Verstappen, I can easily say that Perez is going to be challenging Bottas this year.
100%.
And we were just like, obviously, before we go on to tell you the rest of the scores, obviously you can see them as we go, but we'll run through them as they go along. We want to say we're sorry for all those who use their Mega Drive for week 1 and haven't come across this yet. It is a tactic that you think gets you ahead in the standings. Maybe gamble because you can, guarantee.
The thing with F1 Fantasy is it's not like a race. It's not like when you're in front, you can defend. You can't do a Lewis Hamilton
can't
stop other people getting past.
You can't do that. You can't do that.
Basically, the best time to Mega Driver is to link it in with streaks. No guarantees, but that's your best possible outcome.
But if those streaks do come off, which they did last year for Stephen in Bahrain, and obviously the first half of the season, the Lewis streak at Silverstone did come off. I still think he was the best Mega Driver in the first half of the season. Essentially, Daniel Ricciardo might have still been a very good Mega Driver when he scored 50 points.
The 4th best Mega.
Yeah, so
like that.
It just shows if you get a double race and qualifying streak on a driver, so that's 15 extra points onto, and then if that driver goes on and wins the race, then you're looking at mega points for your mega driver, and it's then suddenly 40, 50 points more than I think some people who turbo mega driver max this weekend. I think it was 105 roughly that I think he was on. Lewis, I think, was 120-ish. He may have even got up to 130. So maybe you're not losing out too much there, but still, it's a bit risky to kind of go off week one.
Exactly.
But it gets you a lead and it gets you a mention.
You'll get a shout out.
F1 Fanatics Fantasy League later on. But yes, okay. But yes, Tim, do you want to run through this usually your bit?
So it's usually my bit. Now to run through the rest of the field, we've got Charles Leclerc on 20 points, Yuki Tsunoda on 16 points, Daniel Ricciardo on 15 points, Kimi Räikkönen and Sebastian Vettel on 12 points. We got the 11-point club with Carlos Sainz, Mick Schumacher, Lance Stroll and Esteban Ocon. George Russell came in with a solid 10 points, and then the disappointing Antonio Giovinazzi on 5 points. Pierre Gasly on 2 points, disappointed, but he did retire, so not too bad. Nicholas Latifi on 1 point, also retired. And then he had the 2 earlier retirements of Fernando Alonso on -8 and Nikita Mazepin on -14.
Yep, I'm sure there'll be a lot of people who are quite happy about that Nikita Mazepin one. The surprising thing is for me was Mick Schumacher and George Russell scoring so well. If that makes sense. By what I mean is, look, you've got the Sainz, Stroll and Ocon are all significantly more.
Yes.
And Kimi Räikkönen got 12 and, was also thinking here, I think early stages again, Mick Schumacher I still want to avoid because I'm not sure that Haas is going to be reliable, although Imola might be one for Mick Schumacher.
My opinion on, so there's always a cheap driver in a season that will get you solid points. 2 seasons ago it was George Russell. Last season it was Nicholas Latifi. For me, the Haas's are too reliable. They were too unreliable last year, and I feel they're going to be even worse this year. The only way is forward in the race, but that's if they finish the race. Like we see with Nikita Mazepin, just went a bit too early on the throttle, and then the car was like, I'm going into the wall. And
Mick Schumacher easily could have retired as well.
Exactly, because he also spun turn 4.
Yeah, the car just looks so unstable.
Yeah.
George Russell, the only issue with George Russell is a lot of people go, oh, George, so good for Williams. The only problem with George is like a Charles Leclerc here, these guys are superb in qualifying. But the problem is, if you qualify like Leclerc did 4th, although he still had a fantastic race in 5th, he actually loses points because he lost a position. And George Russell, I think, actually maintained in the race. So he got the teammate bonus points. But if George Russell say someone has a bad qualifying like Ocon and gets knocked out, realistically, you're rooting in fantasy terms. If you're a George Russell fan, you're probably hoping he does get through. But in fantasy terms, you're probably hoping that George Russell doesn't ever get out of Q1.
Yeah.
Because then he's a big, big point scorer. If he gets into Q2, then it feels like the only way is down for him and it limits the effectiveness what he can be this weekend. But at 6.2 mil, for that price and how the price range is between those guys, he's a very good option.
I would back George more so than Mick Schumacher.
Absolutely.
Nothing against Mick, but it's just the car. It's just the car. They both went spinning in the race, and yeah.
We move on to the Constructors. So after saying not Mercedes, they come out atop as per usual, but interestingly,
only 14 points, and I don't know what the price difference is.
It's about 13 million.
There we go. So, yeah, you're only getting a point a million, basically, somewhere around there, which isn't the best value.
And bearing in mind, that was Red Bull with Checo not having a great race.
I did do a few test teams. So you can pick 3 teams. And my first team, obviously, you all know. Second team, I was trying out having Lewis as your driver. And third team was having Mercedes as your constructor. And Mercedes one did the worst.
Yeah.
Just because the budget constraints you have to have with that Mercedes to only get 14 points advantage, it's just not great.
Now, McLaren coming in third, I think it's set. And having looked at that first weekend, I feel I could go out on a limb. I feel like McLaren are comfortably going to be the third constructor.
It depends on the race. Bahrain is very strong for McLaren because they have their test centre there. They got a lot of data. I wouldn't say for sure the whole season McLaren are going to be stuck on third.
But I thought even Ricciardo, who had a bad race, was still comfortably quicker than Carlos Sainz. I think Ferrari have Leclerc.
As a constructor?
As a constructor, yeah. AlphaTauri have Gasly.
I don't know.
But I think McLaren in Norris and Ricciardo have the all-round more solid package. But regardless, they're, about 7 mil cheaper than Red Bull.
Another 14 points gap. So you can already see you're now getting 2 points per million with that difference.
Yeah, I think Red Bull, especially as I'm back in Checo, as early season definitely as well. I'm going to be back in Checo to be fighting Bottas for that third spot on the podium. I'm already ruling Bottas out of winning races.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's going to be Verstappen and Hamilton will both keep them high. Whichever wins the race will send the constructor on top. And then if Checo is getting the third place as well, okay, you've seen this. Essentially, you got second, fifth there, and you got first, third there.
Yeah.
Mercedes and Red Bull are going to be very close all year, but Red Bull essentially are going to be much more worth it in terms of the financial difference between the two.
Yes. Bam. The rest, Ferrari at 26 points, Aston Martin disappointed 18 points, Alpine another disappointing 13 points, then the rest of AlphaTauri 13, Alpha 12, Haas 7, and Williams 6. I've misspelled Haas.
Haas. That's all right. We're fine. People are going Haas.
Yeah.
That's all right.
I was adding an extra S because of Mick Schumacher. It was in honour of Mick.
Brilliant. Thank you. That's what everyone wanted to hear.
Although I didn't say AlphaTauri. AlphaTauri was a disappointment because they could have easily, looking at their qualifying pace, they could have easily been the third highest scoring team. But Gasly race fell apart, and Yuki obviously never recovered from a dodgy qualifying in Q2.
No, and I think that's probably it. In terms of rounding up, other than obviously the league,
yes,
where we go
course.
to next, so we can get the top 5. And there we go. Joined leagues here. Stephen has to point. Whoa! That's the next section to go on to. So every week on F1 Fantasy Weekly, if you make it into the top 5, you will get a shout out, and people can have a look at your team. And maybe you don't want that. Maybe you want to keep your team's secret, but there are so many combinations you can do. There's a lot of joint 4th there, so should we include all of those? Almost do a top 6 this week.
Yeah, and I also want to do a shout out to the highest non-Mega Driver team as well.
Brilliant. Okay, we shall do that. And a shout out to Hayley, your girlfriend. She always wants to compete in F1 Fantasy.
She always beats us.
Yeah, she has no real particularly interest in Formula 1, but for the majority of the season, she's on top of us. If she'd Mega Drivered at the right times last year, she would have probably beaten both of us.
Yep.
To take you through Hayley's thought process when picking a team, one of her drivers in picking Lance Stroll was literally, I want one with a green car.
It kind of worked out.
There you go. And that's how it worked out for us. But anyway, Raja Team 1. I'm not sure.
You have to click on the Bahrain now.
Yeah, it's small here, but yeah, we got Verstappen Mega Drivered, Turbo Norris, so that was a good combination there. Only obviously Lewis Hamilton going from there. Perez as well, so that was good. Gasly is the one that really kind of lets down. Who had Tsunoda, could have been even better. But Mick Schumacher there and Red Bull was the constructor. I think we're going to go from there. So Raja Team 1 by Raja R. Good start.
Nice.
Utri Racing, Stephen.
This one went for Turbo Leclerc, George Russell, Kimi Raikkonen, Mega Lewis, and then Landon Norris with Ferrari as your constructor. Nice. 252 points. Bang.
Interesting. Certainly on that front. By Matteo N. I don't know if, as they are Italian, they are trying to be Matteo Nannini. But that's certainly a fun one on that. But well done. You've made the top 5. You are essentially 5th, higher up. But it is interesting to see even then the difference. See, last year, it was literally like constructor, Mercedes, Mercedes, Mercedes. Already, 2 teams, we've got 2 different constructors, which is nice to see. Next one up, we have Akil. Team 1 by Akil. Why? Perez. Verstappen Mega Driver, Turbo Norris. So yeah, those guys gambling on the Turbo Norris really paying off.
Same as the the first team in the top 5.
Correct.
Sorry, I can't remember your name.
Gasly, Schumacher, and Red Bull.
Mispronounce it.
Right now,
it was the same as Raja's team. There we go.
It was indeed. Right, third one. First Brit is.
Mega Lewis, Turbo Lando, George Russell, Carlos Sainz, Lance Stroll, and McLaren as a constructor.
So our third constructor already in that. Definitely Mega and Lewis is going from there. Definitely backing the British teams. Elaine from Britain, Elaine Team 1, Elaine C. Congratulations, you are 3rd place, 264. Good certainly starting.
Carlos Sainz, the only oddball in that one.
And then Norway. Spinala.
Joint tops.
Mads B.
Had 3 people joint 4th, 1 person in 3rd, and then 2 joint tops.
Brilliant. 266. Yeah, it's close at the top. So Perez Turbo Driver, decent there. Ocon, Russell, Schumacher. I believe this was my original team. So if you take out the Mega Driver, it did okay, but not necessarily superb, but pretty decent on that front. Yep. Red Bull was the strong constructor, and Hamilton as the Mega Driver, like we saw there. And on top, as it currently stands, but obviously joint top with Spinella, is
Firoz. Is that how you say it?
Firoz or F1 Roz?
It is F1 Roz now. By Ferrero.
Ferro K.
Same team. Bam.
There you go.
That's
Easy.
why they're joint.
Simple. Same team. For now. But yes, you wanted to give a shout out
to the first non-Mega Driver. Yeah, is that
was
one.
Was it that
is
one?
That one. Okay. 199. Gasly! Love it. By Luke. Is that Luke I? Verstappen, Bottas, Turbo Norris, Russell, Schumacher, and Red Bull.
Now, I believe actually we rated this type of team quite poorly in Rate Your Team last week because we're like, Bottas, avoid. He's actually done pretty well at 32.
Yeah. Well, I believe this would have been top if he megaed Max, which is why I wanted to give a shout out to it. Because in theory, this is the best team.
Yes, although we probably had the best team if we
turboed Lando.
Lando.
Yes.
So
but we did it. So this is why this is the best team.
This is the best team.
Last week.
In terms of that. And just to put it on, 3 points beating us by Lightning McQueen. Here is Haley, as we were watching cars this week.
The real professional.
Hamilton, Schumacher, Stroll, Norris Turbo, Russell, Red Bull. Look at that.
Bam.
Look at that. That's a left field team. I wouldn't have thought many people would have gone for that. Because I don't know how much budget she's still got in there. She's definitely got budget to play around with, I'm sure.
This says value 100 mil.
Oh, is it? There you go.
It says it right there.
There you go. Value 100 mil. Bang. There you go. Didn't have any budget to play around with. Perfect. Nailed it. Yeah, that's it. We'll shut down the screen recordings there. But yeah, that's our roundup.
Yes, it is indeed.
The review. It was a fantastic race. What a way to start off the 2021 season.
It is, yep. And we'll do rate your teams next week.
Yes.
Because actually we have a gap and then we have a preview week, don't we?
Yeah,
So
we do.
We'll do another kind of rate your team special next week.
Yeah, we'll do Rate Your Team special, and we'll also view up, probably looking ahead to the next set of races.
Yes.
What might be good investments, looking at where teams might be strength-wise. We can take a bit more detailed look at that, and we'll do that on the website again, so you guys can obviously easily follow. Actually, no. I'll do that next time, because next time we'll also look at kind of the streaks bit where you can follow the streaks on the website with the driver profiles and everything on that front.
Yes.
Makes sense on that. But yeah, I think that is it from us at F1 Fantasy Weekly. We hope you've enjoyed. Remember, any questions you have about the F1 Fantasy game, we will do our best to answer it. And people are very good in the comments as well. If we can't answer it, they will usually answer it as well. It's got quite a good F1 Fantasy community going on here.
Yeah.
We enjoy it. We hope you've enjoyed it. Congratulations to you guys on top. But remember, F1 Fantasy, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Was that dramatic enough?
Yeah, that's pretty dramatic.
Yeah, it was dramatic. Okay, bang, let's go. So if you're new around here or haven't done so already, Stephen,
You can like, subscribe, or ding that bell.
ding it. So for now, you F1 fans, keep racing.